Okay, so we have the part where our widget list editor is retrieving data from the server, right? It's unload. When the component is ready to load, it dispatches a function that invokes a GET request from the server, right? And then here is retrieving that one record on the server. Okay, so the next part would be to see if we can send data back to the server, right? Here we can add new widgets. Oops. Probably our key. Probably need to fix a couple of things here. In the add widget, dispatch is not being sent across. Let's see. We're not being able to dispatch. Why are we not dispatching? Widget list. So we're not dispatching here. Actually, this shouldn't even exist here, right? This should actually be part of a function that we call, right? Ideally, so that we can pass through here. Let's see. How did I do it over here? Final widgets. Props create. Oh, okay, yeah. So I just declared it on the property, and it got mapped to here. Okay, yes. So let's do it correctly, right? Let's do it right on the here instead of just being right on the sending it, dispatching it right from the component. The ideal part would be to add a widget right here, right? We would map it to a property from outside. So this would be add widget, right? And this add widget would be mapped from outside. We would be connected over here in the mapper. Where's our mapper? Here's our mapper, right? And our mapper will say that we'll map that one property, right? This one property. This will be this.property, this.props.addWidget. It will call that function, and we'll map it to a function that lives outside. So here's addWidget. It's going to map it to an actual function that implements the addWidget, and we'll pass it the dispatch. There we go. So this addWidget can live up here next to our other function. So this will be const addWidget, and this will take in as argument the dispatch. And this is the only thing that's going to do. It's just going to call the dispatch, right? It's going to say dispatch with the action, the original action. What was it called? Add widget, was it? Add widget. Right? And our reducer is just waiting for that add widget. That's all. That's all it's asking for, right? So let's try that again. Let's refresh. Oops, did I misspell it? Dispatch. Sorry, English is not my first language. All right, so there we go. We can generate the widgets, and we can remove them just like before. Maybe we can take an idea that somebody mentioned earlier. The IDs here on the client are really irrelevant, right? They're not the actual IDs that are going to be used on the server, right? The server will generate its own IDs, right? It's auto-incremented. Here, the IDs are only used for uniquely identifying them. So you know, we could use the idea of auto-incrementing using the length of the array, right? And just incrementing it by one. That would be fine. So for instance, this ID when we create it, you know, this might be you could take the widgets, right, and you take the length and plus 1, right? So that could be an idea, right? So that'd be 2, right? We'd start at 2 or whatever the length is, okay? Or again, so there would be a query that you would have to know because some of these IDs might have already been taken by the server. The server might have already populated this with some IDs. There would be a duplicate. You would have to know that to use an ID that is not taken, right? Or use some kind of GUID that is uniquely identified. They're all going to be useless here on the client. Eventually, the server is going to generate all of these IDs, right? Here on the client, you only need them to be unique, okay? All right, so let's create and let's save these to the server. So let's add a save button at the top, maybe up here in the widget list. Right before the list of widgets, we can add a button that says save, right? Something like that. You have a save here, and when you click save, it sends the entire list of widgets over to the server. Okay, so let's follow along the presentation. Yeah, posting data to a REST API, right? So we're going the other way around. Right? We're going from the client posting the data to the server. Right? So let's see what that looks like. So the list editor is going to send on the property is going to say save. Right? It's going to dispatch a function. The dispatcher is going to map that to an actual action creator, and then it will invoke a save on the reducer, and the reducer is the one who's actually going to do the work, right? It's going to well, we could do it in different places, right? We could do it here in the save function, right? Do the fetch post, right? And then when the response comes back, then tell the reducer we're done, right? So it could be two dispatches. One is a save dispatch, and one is save was successful, right? And what we could do perhaps is on the save, right before we do the fetch, maybe we can turn on some, like a spinning image and display the spinning image, right? Because this might take a while, might be a couple milliseconds. And then on the response, when it comes back from the server, we can then turn off the spinner, right? So it would give some feedback to the client, right? That something is going on, right? Just wait up, right? It'll take us a couple milliseconds to do this, right? It's asynchronous, right? There's something going on the server. Anyway, you could do it either here or on the reducer. So here we have the button. So let's copy that. All right, we already have it. There it is. Oops. Did we copy? There it is. And we need to map this save to an actual function, right? So let's do that. We'll go to the mapper down below. Here's our mapper, and we're going to map it to an actual function. And we're going to pass it the dispatch. Okay? And we'll implement it up here. It'll be const save dispatch. Okay? Again, we can do the fetch right here, or we can do it on the reducer. So let's do it here. Right? Actually, we can't do it here, right? Because we don't have the state here. Right? We don't have the list of widgets here. Where is the list of widgets? It's way on the reducer. Right? Reducer has all that state and then the previous state, and that's what we really want. Right? So no, let's dispatch directly to the reducer. So we'll say type save. Okay. And on the reducer side, we're going to listen for that incoming save, and we'll say case save. And we're just the state is not gonna change, right? Because we already have the state. We're just notifying the server, right? We already have the state here. We're just saving it permanently on the server, right? So for us, the client, nothing's gonna happen, right? Perhaps we want to notify the client saying, yep, it was successful or not, that was successful. But as far as we're concerned, our state doesn't change, right? We're just permanently storing it, right? So we're just gonna return the state, so that doesn't change. But before we return, we're going to do a fetch. We're going to do a fetch to post the current state that we have, right? The current state, which contains a list of widgets. Okay? So let's do that. Let's have it here. Let's see, dispatch. We did the mapping. We dispatched the save items. Here's the fetch. There it is. So let's copy the fetch. Probably need this parentheses right here. And we're going to do it right there. So we're going to paste that. All right, so this is going to go to API. So this will be widgets or widget, and I'm going to put a /save at the end, right, to know that I am just saving. I'm not posting a new widget, right, because this would be interpreted as I want a new widget, right? That would be interpreted as I want a brand new widget, and here's the widget instance. Instead, I want to distinguish that between posting a single widget instead of I'm just saving an entire list of widgets, right? And what I'm sending, notice what I'm sending. I'm sending the entire list of widgets, an array of widgets. I'm not sending one widget, right? An entire list of widgets. So it'll be an array of many objects, right? And it's a post. Here are the headers, the content type, plus any other headers you might need here to maintain state for HTTP session, right? The origins and same origin and whatnot. You might also have to put it here so that you know who's logged in, right? So you might want to add that here as well. All right, there we go. So we're going to post this. Let's see what we have so far. Let's refresh this, and let's look at what would go out to the server. Let's remove that. Let's add several widgets, and now let's save. Now notice that it's red, right? Obviously because there's nobody on the server side listening for API widget save. Right? That's for sure. But what I did want to point out is that okay, we can't see what's actually being sent over because the server immediately responded with there's no mapping to that, right? This is the pre-flight query. Remember, there's two when there's cross site scripting, right? There are two queries for every query. The first query is ask the browser asking the server, is it okay, right? Is this URL okay, right? And the server is going to say yes, it's okay to post to that URL, right? And then the client actually sends over the payload, right? So immediately the pre-flight failed. Notice that it says options. That's how you know this is a pre-flight query, right? This is not a post. It's not a get. It's an options. It is asking the server, what are your options? What can I send you, right? Okay, so let's go back to the server, and let's generate an endpoint for posting it, right? So certainly we'd like to be able to post. So this will be a post mapping, and it's mapped to /API/widget/save, right? So that's what we're going to post to, and we're not going to return anything. We're not going to return anything, but this is save all widgets. Okay. And what are we going to be sending over? We're going to be sending an array of widgets, right? So this is going to be a list of widgets, which is pretty cool, right? That I can send any number of widgets, and this will be widgets. Okay. We're going to have to parse that out of the request body. We're going to parse that out from the request body. Let's see, what else? We'll need to import that. And basically what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to iterate over each one of these widgets, right, and do inserts into a database for each one of them. Okay? So we can iterate over each one of these. So we can say for each widget in widgets. Widget. Did I misspell this? Is it not widget? Widget. Widget cannot be resolved as a variable. Oh. Wait, is my syntax wrong? I'm sorry? Just a 4? Okay. Oh. Okay. All right. So this widget was just going to save it right into the server. So let's do that. We're going to use the repository, and we're going to do a save the widget into a database. All right. Okay. Let's try that. Let's save this. Let's restart the server. Okay. Meanwhile, let's go back to our database and make sure that we just have one single widget. There it is. We just have widget 1. Okay. Okay. So this started. Let's go back to our client, and presumably we have these 5 widgets right now, right? So let's try it out. Let's go and clear this, clear the network tab, and let's save again. Save. Notice that this time is not red, so the server did not complain this time. But again, the first is the pre-flight saying, "Yep, you can post to that. It's okay." Right? And the save. Notice that the payload. The payload. Notice that it's what we expect, right? It's the JSON array of all the JSON objects, right? And now if we go back to the server and we do a refresh, right? Notice that all widgets are there, right? With all the text and all the IDs. Now these IDs are not the IDs we sent over, right? The JPA is going to ignore them because we said that it was a generated value, right? It was auto-incremented. Okay, so it's going to ignore whatever IDs we pass in. Now let's see what happens if you save again. Now if you save again, it's okay. But what about if you remove a few, right, and you save? Right, if you remove a few and you save, notice that we still have the old ones, right? Somehow we would need to do a compare. Which ones are not there anymore, and I have to remove them, right? It'd be a pain to do that, right? But granularity, if you would be doing something that these are huge objects and they have multiple references to other things and primary keys here and there flying everywhere, you would have to do that, right? Which ones do I need to remove? And individually remove them. Here we're not going to get that fancy, so we're going to just wholesale just remove the entire set of widgets, and we're just going to reinsert them back in. All right? We're going to do it lazily. So we're going to say repository delete all. So delete all will remove, not drop the database. We'll remove all the records in that table so that we can reinsert them back in. Okay. So let's restart this. So if we refresh, we have 0. Okay, we have the five widgets in there, and I believe that's what we have here, right? Yeah, that's what we have. These 5 ones. But if we remove these 2 and we only have 1, 4, and 5, and then we save, and then we refresh, notice that we only have those 3. We have those 3, but notice the IDs. See that? The IDs is whatever the server wants them to be, right? Whatever JPA wants them to be, because they are auto-incremented, right? Also notice the order in which they're in, right? Usually you should not assume that the database is going to sort this in any particular way, right? If you want to sort it, you have to handle the sorting, right? And the only way, so in an array, you are guaranteed the order, right? It's whatever you added them and whatever you reposition. In a result list that comes back from the server, you cannot guarantee any order, right? So if you want to handle order, you would have to have a field called order, right? And that specifies explicitly what order you want each one of these to be in, right? In the database, it could be all jumbled up, right? But now you have the order field that you can order by, and then that particular field. Make sense? Right, so you would have to add an order field in there if you want to display it in a particular order. Notice that I still have here a stale version, right, of the information. Right? I won't have it until I refresh, and then I have the latest one. Yes? Sure. Yes. Of course. Yep. Yep. Excellent. Good idea. Excellent. So there we go. So we were able to retrieve a list of widgets and render them, as well as being able to post an entire widget over to the server. All right. All right. So let's keep going and play around with some more ideas.